Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma and today we are going to do a tour of the lower garden, but we're starting in the backyard because I wanted to show you how beautiful this combo is right behind me, and then we'll head down and actually going to show you some pretty messy spaces in the garden because let's be real, it's the end of summer. We have neglected some spaces. We have used areas for a lot of work and not a lot of cleanup because sometimes you just have projects going on and you don't have time to make everything all super tidy and nice to go do some other tidy and nice thing. So I'm going to show you the messy middle of the year and some beautiful things and some of the, everything else that's going on in the garden. But I wanted to start here because I'm so excited about this wild, cottagey, fun space with the butterfly bush and the pincushion flowers. They're just so fun and airy and just like I don't know, it feels like summer. And then I have the Celine down here too, which is also very airy and fun. So I don't know if those things will be in this level of joy when I come back around to the backyard because we were just here last weekend. But I also wanted to show you these seed heads that are developing on the pincushion, which is really, really interesting. This is Jasmine's hair caught all on it. So it's really fuzzy, especially with Jasmine's hair on it. But really interesting shape, and all these little, the rust color hairs, that's what the pincushion flower forms. I guess before the seed head, after the seed head, I'm not sure. Just pretty cool. This is the inner rim. Right after the flower bloomed, it looked like this. And then it moves into this. I like it. I'm hoping that I can dry them for jade flower arrangements. These guys do not dry. They just fall apart. They rot. Yeah. They turn into like this brown mess. Yeah. These Crocosmia dry pretty nicely, but they lose this green color and they just turn brown. But still kind of an interesting texture to put in dried flower arrangements. All right, guys, guys and girls, and everyone else in between and beyond. This is the messiness. So we have a compost piles here. We rotate between them, where this is the pretty raw material, recent raw, and that's more broken down. Spencer turned it maybe a month ago. It was reversed. This pile was bigger with the raw material on it, and then he flipped it over here, and this is decomposing. Now we're starting over here again. And then on the other side, we have very woody materials that that doesn't break down quite as quickly. We had hoped to get to this area this summer, but clearly that hasn't happened. And we do need to get into it because we have bindweed and blackberry kind of taking over behind there. But this house right there was being built this summer, and we just kind of want it to work in other areas. Back here is the shed, which I did organize a while back. But throughout the summer, we pull things out, we start using them. These are, they're used for quilts or whatever, but I use them to dry my flowers and herbs on. So we just pulled them out to see what kind of condition they're in and where they need repairs, and they're gonna get utilized pretty soon. These are trellises that we used this spring for peas and some different things. These chairs are usually right here, but this tree is very sappy. So we just leave them upside down unless we're ready to like sit out here. And then behind the shed, we have where we store all of our pots. So it's just a disaster, and it's an organized disaster, but definitely an area that we want to address a little bit more this year. But between the gazebo and the beautiful greenhouse, we just didn't get to it. Maybe this fall, I don't know, but it's no longer a high priority. All right, let's keep going. The golden rain tree developed all of these seed pods, which it did not do last year. So I don't know if I'm going to end up with 1,000 baby golden rain trees around here, or, I mean, they're all the way up in there. Kind of interesting texture. Kind of makes it messy. Messy looking. I don't know if I love it. And I'm going to love it less if it makes a bunch of babies. Everything else over here, that's the Crimson Queen we just planted recently. She's doing pretty good. Everything else is just like normal. Nothing to really talk about too much, I don't think. Down my favorite path here. I think I pointed this out last time, but all the ferns came back beautifully after we cut them all the way down this spring. So we are starting to work on the creek side, which is over on this side of our property. And you can see we have a big debris pile that's covered with blackberry. So that needs to be addressed. Basically, our property line goes just a little bit past that tree, which has ivy on it again, which I did remove. You can see all the dead ivy. This is this year's growth. So we'll get in there in the fall and take care of that. The Scutheria is in full berry, which is fun to see. Okay. So the fairy garden is looking a little tired at the end of the summer. We've got a lot of leaves and such in here, but still looks adorable. We'll probably be taking that down after Labor Day and storing it away for the winter. It did turn out that, if you remember, I put lights out here, and I put the solar panels at the edges in hopes to catch enough sun. It did not catch enough sun over here. So they haven't been lighting up, and next year we'll probably put battery operated ones. These ones have been lighting up. So somehow that solar panel does better than that one. I don't know. Anyway, what are these? Wish flower, the wish flower ones have been lighting up great. Just not the other ones. Same with the ones that we put up there, same style. Those ones aren't really lighting up either, which is confusing because that one should get lots of sun. Anyway, okay, so we have our hedge of limelights here, which are getting swallowed by Gaultheria. So the next pruning job that I got to get into is pushing this Gaultheria back and down, because I want the hydrangeas to grow up. So we'll be doing that in the next week or so, but super happy to see some blooms coming up on here, even though it's getting quite shaded. So here we are. Right there is where we started restoring the creek. So my next part of that project is from that tree where we stopped and bring it over here. There's tons of dead debris in here. This is all Gaultheria that's just shaded out from the trees above. So we'll clear all of this out, and obviously more blackberry, and then we'll take the Gaultheria down to about hip or knee level so that filtered light can come in here better and hit these hydrangeas. There's a huge debris pile there underneath our gazebo, which I'm still loving. This Emily Bronte rose is loving its life here. It's put on tons and tons of new growth. If you remember, it was down here, it was blooming. This is the dead bloom that it had when we put it down here. And it's all the way up there now. So fun. However, the Charles Darwin, not doing as well. Which I also find interesting because from my understanding and perspective and like watching this garden, that corner gets less sun. But now I'm thinking this isn't doing that great, and the solar panel is right above it, and it's not making the lights go. So maybe there is a lot more shade in this corner than I realized. Oh, I have to show my Himalayan honeysuckle with its gorgeous blooms. I absolutely adore this shrub. It is just one of my absolute favorite shrubs. Look at that. It feels so magical. Okay, so going into the mermaid garden, we really just didn't do much in here. We did plant this anemone, which is about to bloom, which is fun. Other than that, we didn't do anything else in this garden this year. I was really focused. We did add this chair and little patio, but I was really focused on structure this year, more so than planting anything. So this is the Mexican hydrangea or peanut butter bush, and she's put on lots of growth. She's starting to put on some flowers, which I'm really excited about. If you don't know about this plant, the leaves, when you rub them like this and then smell your hands, it smells just like a fresh jar of peanut butter. And then their blossoms smell like night blooming jasmine, which is so fun. And it made a little baby. So I'll be watching out for that, but I think it would be pretty cool to have a multi-trunked peanut butter bush if that happens for me. The Gunnera is insanely huge. It is just like, if I could take this and do a cement project with it, it would be the size of a dining room table, like a small, like, kitchenette breakfast nook table. It is that big. And that one is not far from it. They're just huge. They're such a fun plant to have in the garden. All right, so we saw the creek not too long ago. I'll link that below if you want to know more about the creek restoration that we're starting. But let's move on. Excuse the hose that we have out. It is summertime. We're not dragging this thing back and forth. Just leave it out so we could use it easily. We have a stilbe blooming here. And the orange crocosmia is blooming. This is the Proven Winners Mountain Hydrangea. It's blooming, looking good. And the hostas were doing really good. It's the end of the year, so they are starting to look a little tired. But overall, looking pretty good this year. Not many losses. hardly any slug damage, which is what our biggest struggle with hostas are. So that's good. This little area is starting to fill in with the different perennials. They're starting to bulk up, which is exciting to see. The crabapple is starting to put just a touch of fall color, and you could see just a touch. But it's fun to see because that means fall is coming. It's not far away. Okay, let's see. The rue looks beautiful. This little PJM rhododendron that we put in here this spring has put on tons of new growth. The massive wet feet flooding that we get over here in the wintertime or springtime did nothing. It did not stall it at all. So that is awesome. These proven winter sun patience, love them. I have not touched them all summer. They have just been consistently blooming and putting a little touch of bright color in the deep shade. I am thrilled about that because I didn't touch them at all summer long. Oh, let's go back here. We've got our oak leaf hydrangea did not put on a bloom this year. And it only had one bloom last year, and that was from when we planted it. So it did put on a lot of growth. So I'm hoping that it's just, in that stage of growing where on its roots and it's just getting established. This is the macrophylla hydrangea cutting from our hydrangea upstairs, and it is starting to color up and bloom, although the one upstairs in full sun has been blooming for a couple of months. And then we have the purple astilbe, and the heucheras are looking beautiful, and the bear's breeches is looking pretty good. I don't know if it put on a bloom stalk this year. I don't think it did, actually, so I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, right, let's keep seeing what else. The dogwoods look great. That dogwood put on some new growth. This dogwood is starting to get some fall color. Really fun. This red twig dogwood suffered a lot this year, so we're gonna dig it up and put it somewhere else this fall. But what I was noticing, I just saw it, is my primroses are going to start blooming again. So my primroses bloom all winter long, and they kind of rest and get a little bit eaten in the summertime. I just come through and clean up their eaten leaves, and their new growth comes out, and then they start blooming. And this whole patch is just like a whole riot of different colors. There's another pink one coming up. So maybe the pink ones bloom first, I don't know. Although I am seeing a little bit of aggression on my ajaga that's kind of taking over my primrose patch. So I want the ajaga in here, but maybe I need to watch it on those primroses, huh? Well, overall, everything looks really full. Here is the clematis is doing so fabulous. Look how fluffy and fun that bloom is. Isn't that gorgeous? Comes out kind of flat. Got a little white spider right there. Can you see him? Can you see him? He's cute. But it comes out flat like that, and then it gets all fluffy, and it's going up the trellis and looking fabulous. We'll get into the medicine garden another tour, but over here, which is this space, we do have just a couple of daisies still blooming with the orange crocosmia. It's very fun and just summery. All right, that's going to do it for today's tour of the lower garden. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you, you know, get some peace of mind knowing that everybody has messy spaces in their life, in their garden, in their home, and their family, and it's okay. It's perfectly fine, especially, you know, if you've been working on something that brings you even more joy than the messy, then just let the messy be and focus on all the love and joy you have in all the other areas of your life. And keep celebrating your life. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.